Thanks. Sorry. Oh, you're fine. I'm just getting in a minute before you.
Okay, gang's all here. We'll get started. I'll call this to order. Roll call.
Mrs. Pinkstock? Here. Mr. Rainier?
Here.
Mrs. Song? Here. Mr. Sharp?
Here.
Mrs. Young?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item is to approve the agenda as presented, and we do have an addendum here with just a couple items added to it. Is there a motion? Second?
I'll second.
Seconds, discussion? And there's the last minute, what do you say, resignation?
Yes.
And then executive session.
From a supplemental.
Yeah. Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock?
Yes.
Mrs. Song?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes. Consent agenda, accept the minutes from the previous meeting, approve certified certificate substitute list. Number 5 is presented by the Fairfield County ESC for 21-22, attachment 2, and Pickaway County list for December, which is attachment 3. Accept donations of Benton County Bank, $750 for the scoreboard, a $20 cash donation for the drama club t-shirts, and accept resignations of Lori Love effective November 26th. Her position as special ed director and federal Title I coordinator, and Carrie Chafin, team leader for second grade effective immediately. Is there a motion? Moves. Is there a second? 2 seconds. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock?
Yes.
Mrs. Song?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes. Public participation.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sarah Sharp, and I'm here on behalf of the ACLSD chapter. And I'm just going to give you a report of all of our past and our current and upcoming events within the organization. So since our last update, we hosted our State Officer Leadership Night, and we were able to safely bring multiple schools from around the state together for a workshop with our FFA state officers. We hosted our annual hog roast actually on the same night as the last board meeting. And we were actually able to have that as normal again this year. So that was really nice to bring our FFA members and our families together for that. We ran our annual holiday food drive. So our FFA members during the day and outside of the school day were able to go around the community, hand out bags to be filled up and then pick those bags up for those in need. We had our monthly FFA meeting again in the Ag Center for November. And then for our CDEs, we had multiple teams compete in career development events this past month. So our job interview contest, we had Madison Cordell compete for the freshman category, and she placed 3rd in the county. We had Madeline Anderson compete in the sophomore category. She placed 1st in the county, 1st in the district, and 5th in the state sophomore division. Hannah Som competed in the junior division. She placed 1st in the county, 1st in the district, and 2nd in the state junior division. And then Sarah Sharp, 1st in the county, 1st in the district, and 2nd in the state senior division. So it was a huge accomplishment to have 3 of our 4 contest members not only advance from the county and the district level, but also to the state level and then place so highly. So we're very proud of those members. And then our agricultural technology and mechanical systems team competed as well. So FFA members Evan Millis, AJ Dossman, Logan Craycraft, and Jacob McGee placed 4th in the state in the CDE, with Evan Millis also placing 4th individually. And this is a contest that ACFFA hasn't done in a few years. So we were really proud of these members for stepping outside of their comfort zones, trying something new, and then doing so well at it. And now that these contests are over, we have some new contests that are getting started as well. So our agricultural issues team, our agricultural sales team, agricultural communications, and public speaking teams are all starting up now. And then outside of CDEs, our fruit and snack sale is going on right now. So members yesterday and today are picking up all of the deliveries, and they should hopefully have them to anybody who bought fruit soon. And then our upcoming important dates, we have our monthly FFA meeting on December 13th, and then our Columbus Zoo Lights trip for all of our fruit sellers on December 17th. So those are all of our past, current, and future events that our chapter has been and is participating in. And I'd like to wish you all happy holidays and thank you all again for your support of our organization.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, members of the board. I'm here on behalf of the student body to update you on recent and upcoming events of the student body. The high school and middle school Christmas concert is tonight. High school and middle school band will have their concert next Wednesday. Next week, short cycle assessments will be well underway, leading up to the end of the second quarter, which is next Friday. The junior class is scheduled to take their government test January 11th. Our winter sports are as well underway, with varsity girls basketball 3-3, varsity boys basketball 2-1. Wrestling had their first meet last weekend and placed second, and competition cheer has another meet planned for January. Thank you, and thank you for your support.
Thanks, Jesse.
So I apparently do not need to go to the boys' basketball games because the only one I went to was the one they lost.
You're bad luck.
Yeah. All right. There's no other public participation that I'm aware of, so treasurer's report. Financial status reports.
Okay. So I did send out the forecast to actual report, monthly report earlier today in your email. So feel free to look at that when you can. If you have any questions or anything about it, please let me know. I'd be happy to review that with you. The monthly report, our revenues were $898,962 for the month of November. We had state foundation settlements, small amount investment earnings. We did have an E-rate reimbursement as well, which is something we don't normally get in November. So it kind of put our revenues off for the month a little bit, which is in the next note under revenue. The expenditures were $1,683,754, and total checks written were $2,536,252. Our expenditures were up for the month of November about $503,000, and that was over the last November, which that was mostly due to the debt payment of our lease purchase. We made our first payment in November. It was due in December, so that's where you'll see the difference there, and that's the fringes. If you noticed it on any of the reports, our fringe benefits are 200s, object 200s were lower this month, and that's because of an internal transfer. We use an O24 account to pay our, as a self-funded for our health insurance, and the accounting adjustment did not get made in November, so it'll be made in December. So that was slightly lower than it normally is. So overall, our expenses exceeded our revenues by $784,000, which is more than November, and that's basically due to debt payments. Salary and benefits are our largest expenditure, and the current general fund balance is roughly $13,105,000, and we have about $1,416,000 in encumbrances. Are there any questions about the financials, or
Where's that line item for the debt?
where is the line item for the debt?
Payment.
In what reports?
I don't know.
Which
Any-
reports?
Where would I see it in?
Okay, so if you looked on the 5-year report, that's something that I create, it would be under other expenditures.
345,000?
Yep. That's where that would be.
On this one here. So,
If you look at, I'm trying to think where else you would actually see that number.
you see other expenditures?
So the debt, see how I want to explain this. We use the 004 account to receive in the monies that we financed. So the $3.2 million. So when we paid, that's in an escrow account at KeyBank. So then when we paid for the services that we were going to finance, our HVAC system, the track, that all went through the 004 account, so that wasn't in the general fund, so you wouldn't see that. Now, in the general fund is where we're actually making payments on that debt that was created by financing those projects.
And when do we have to have that money spent by?
We are going to need to make
Because
being
we bought
fiscally
some of
responsible, we should make a decision probably in the next 6 months of what we're going to do because of the band room
Right,
not
that was my
happening.
question. So
Yes. We need to nail down what we're gonna do with that money. We can, I can also have Mike Burns come back in. I talked to him at Capitol Conference about that. And he can come back in and legally talk to us about what we can do with it. We did, when we set the financing up, we made sure the terms were that we could pay it off in 3 years with no penalties for this reason, because we knew what we wanted to do. We weren't quite sure because we had tentative plans for the band room and didn't have solid plans of what we were actually going to do yet.
And you make it sound like it's off the agenda. Are we not considering that anymore?
We've had some people out do the inspections and size, and they honestly believe that it was mislabeled.
Oh.
And it's more is allowed in than what we currently have on our wall, on our occupancy.
Okay.
They brought an engineer in to certify that. So I will get that to you very shortly.
So we're within our limits?
We're safe, you know, in regards to that. However, that still doesn't mean there's not a potential space issue that we need to
Right,
try
but
to-
we're where we should be
Yeah.
with regulations and
Yes.
stuff with that.
Yes.
Okay, because I know we talked about going down and
Yes.
measuring that, like, where they have the storage cabinets actually in that room that they play in.
And when we brought our consultant in, they did all the egresses. They told us what was allowable per square foot for a band member who stands, which we do for percussion.
Right, because
And what
concession stands.
permissible for students who sit. And they had that all numbered for us. And in fact, Mr. Lee and I have been speaking about getting a different occupancy sign made because,
Yeah, we need to have whatever
yes,
is,
that's accurate.
yeah, that's accurate. So we don't need to worry about moving those cabinets to get more square footage in there to add,
Not necessarily for space for students, you know what I'm saying?
okay,
Or, you know, Miss Meyer would probably still want there to be more room.
oh,
So,
well, every room you ever
yes.
build, you want more room.
yes, so,
Doesn't matter what room it is.
exactly.
I get that totally.
So.
Well, that's good news then.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I know what we could use the money for. So,
I wait with bated breath.
you should wait with bated breath. I don't know if any of you guys got to go or not, but at the fall sports banquet, and we've had this every banquet I think I've ever been in that cafeteria. You couldn't hear one thing on that microphone. I sat there and I would have loved these boys. I don't know these boys unless they're in a football jersey that has their name on the back and a helmet on. So it was kind of disappointing to not to get to hear like who this boy was and what award they got, because they all got stuff.
It's funny, the reason I know.
Every single person who talked on that microphone, you could not, it was.
This is where I looked at Ms. Fairchild when you said that, because Nathan, Mr. Downhour, we had contacted someone about coming in and they fixed it.
They didn't fix it.
I came to meet the team night for the girls' basketball team, and Mr. Weiss was speaking, and
Did you get the same?
I looked at the caterer and I said, can you understand the thing he's saying? I'm from here to, it's fairly away from them. And I can't understand a word he's saying. I said, well, I thought this was fixed. So what you're suggesting is we really go fix it?
I am suggesting we
Okay.
fix it, because and I was kind of middle of the pack where I was sitting, like I wasn't way in the front, I wasn't way in the back, but no one could really hear.
We had the same issue at the Ag Hall roast
Yes.
and then Kiss Breakfast anytime I
It's
was
just kind of disappointing that you're highlighting your students and we have 10 million in the bank.
Well-
You can't have a microphone to hear how wonderful they are.
I went to the
Okay.
class play last year,
Oh, you could, that was terrible too.
and I came out, the next day I told Mr. Hinton, I said, I will hear these kids speak at our next play.
Ah,
So I thought that we were,
Because I went to the class
Yeah.
play last year as well, and it was
so
very
we will restart this process because I agree with you. If our kids are going to be in the play, they need to be heard. They're going to be recognized and heard. And I will tell you the concern that we have, administrative team, the leadership team, when Mr. Brosovich is down there in the middle of lunch, and his secretary needs to have, Joey Doobitty sent to the office, he hears womp, 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 womp. So
it's not any better for him either.
no, so, and then our concern is obviously, with our active shooter drill. We've talked about when we had it done 3 years ago, we could not understand what our IT people were telling us where the shooter was in the building. So we addressed it then, and I thought it sounded better, and we will address it again.
Like, I know it's a microphone, but it is kind of.
No, it's
I did it
discouraging.
as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a system.
It is.
Right.
It's not.
It's the system,
Yeah,
it's not
I
just
remember when we had the one board meeting
Yeah.
during the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Yes,
You could,
in here.
I mean, it's across the board, it needs.
Okay.
I know it sounds petty, but it
It's
would
not
just be
petty.
really nice to be able
Oh,
to
yeah, it's not petty at all.
hear
Okay.
that.
Definitely something that needs to be taken care of.
I kept poor Mrs. Crothers, I'm like, who was that? Who was that? She's like, I don't know.
Okay.
I had one more question about money. How much was the savings from the, energy thing we did? That's not the E-rate.
No.
That's- I was just
E-rate
saying-
has to do with, discounts on technology
Yeah.
and stuff that's provided by the E-rate program.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we weren't.
And you emailed us, I know, but
So we did get a performance report, from VRG, which was Dynamics. And we have it actually to talk about at the end, well, before.
Oh, is it on the
executive
schedule?
session.
Yes.
Yes, at the end of the
Oh, okay.
meeting.
gotcha. Well, then we will,
Okay.
I'll hold on, sorry.
It was a very good month. It's from October. The way our bills fall, we get our bills like third week of the month. So unfortunately, we can't get you.
That's okay. Yeah, this
Because
month.
of more meetings at the beginning of the month, but, yeah, so we're excited to get the next month's,
Gotcha.
savings as well, because it's, so far it seems to
Hopefully it
be
keeps going that way.
pretty good.
Okay, is there, I guess, a motion to approve the financial report, then we have more discussion at that point.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
All right. I would like to recommend we approve classified contracts for substitute custodian to Deborah Fosco, substitute educational aide Tricia Dwyer and Jennifer Goss, retroactive to 12/1 for Jennifer Goss, and substitute secretary Tricia Dwyer.
Is there a motion? Moved. 2 seconds, discussion.
We're always hiring substitutes. So.
Roll call.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
I would like to recommend we approve supplemental contract for 21-22, winter game manager Savannah Sarr, high school assistant play advisor Amelia Harris.
Is there a second? Seconds, discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mrs. Young, Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
I'd like to recommend we approve volunteers for classroom Heather Bell, Jessica Johnston, Angela McCoy, Deborah Schmidt, Brooke Singleton, Christina Uhl, and Natalie Wilcox.
All right, is there a motion? Rob moves. 2 seconds, discussion.
Thank you very much for the willingness to help us, that these people give. It's amazing how many people we add each month. So.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Psalm? Yes. Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend approve a code of conduct addendum to the 21-22 high school and middle school handbook, starting with third grade period 21-22.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll move.
Sue? Rob? Second. All right, Rob seconds, any discussion?
Through probably COVID more than anything else, students have become later and later, and we took some of it out during the COVID parties, and it's become an issue for our high school and middle school students, and Mrs. Cochran and Mr. Henton think that we need to get back to where we were, make sure kids are getting here on time, and because again, if we're quote unquote teaching bell to bell, they're missing something that they're not there. So we want to tighten up the targets a little bit. Discussion.
All right, roll call.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
I'd like to recommend we approve the memo of understanding with ACE concerning evaluation of RESA teaching candidates.
Is there a motion?
I move.
Seconds. Discussion.
RESA is the Residential Educator Summative Assessment. It's a 3-year program, and during that second year, third year, a teacher must do a RESA activity. So it's pretty in-depth, pretty extensive. So instead of evaluating them that year of the RESA, they will do the RESA project and not evaluate them. So.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
I'd like to recommend to approve the memo of understanding with ACE concerning summer school pay.
Motion. Probably moves. Second. 2 seconds.
There was a mix-up in the hiring of extended school year teachers and summer school teachers. And the summer school teachers were thinking they were getting paid the same thing as extended school year teachers. And we had to make an agreement to get to that point where we are today with the numbers that we paid them.
So they weren't being paid the same, and this is so that now they are.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Will that be paid?
Not being paid exactly the same, but there was a concession made, so,
Any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
all right, I'd like to recommend we approve the creation of the K2 reading teachers to start in the 21-22 school year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is that the 21? That's the school?
Well, I'll tell you, in the time I had my surgery, when we started the creation of this, we had talked about trying to create a reading teacher position at the K2 building for this year to fill gaps. There's been a group who has met, and we don't think that we're probably going to find that reading teacher in the middle of December.
Right.
So we created it, and we probably won't fill this one, but we can at least have it for next year. That's what we decided to do. What the group has decided to do is try to create reading teacher tutors, and which that position already exists. It's at a $20 an hour rate. So, that's what we're going to try. We're going to post positions to try to find tutors to address our students who, through progress monitoring, we realize are not where they need to be. Hopefully give them some individualized attention to get them caught up so that they're not coming to third grade being so far behind reading wise. So that's the plan.
So we haven't voted to create this position, you're asking us to?
Yes,
Okay, and you're gonna post it, but you think probably won't get it?
I'm not sure I want to post it. I just want to make sure it's created in case that's what we decide to do. If we cannot find tutors, we may go up teacher round because, because I don't know if we're going to be able to find reading teachers at $20 an hour. I'm sure we're not. So we may have to go a different route that way. And if we can't find anybody to do that, then we may have to post it and say, take our chance with somebody ending the semester. This is, when most schools, some graduates are finishing up now. So it gives us options that when Ms. Fraley and I sit down and discuss it.
So it's a The job description's already been made up and everything?
It's a teaching position.
It's a teaching
Yes.
position. Got it. Okay. Sorry, just.
No, and the concentration would be in reading.
So if we, let's say that we have fully staffed tutors and then this teacher comes in.
We wouldn't do both. No, it's one of the
So
other.
just because the position is created doesn't mean,
No, that's not what we meant to do.
do you anticipate it for next year?
I
223?
think we're gonna have to look at this. Mr. Young, to answer your question, yes, I believe that we're there where, with, our second graders, has not had a normal year yet. So we're no different than anyone else, but at the same time, we gotta be able to recognize the fact that we have shortcomings and our kids are the ones that probably that age group maybe paid the price more than anybody else. So, we can't sit around and say, yeah, we got a problem and not fix it or address it, or at least make the attempt to address it. So, and again, I think 3 people, we can find 3 good people. We could hopefully do a lot more, obviously with 3 than with 1. So, again, we train them like we want them, we'll get our kids to where they need to be.
So our second graders right now, I mean, we're gonna rely on tutors to catch
Yes,
them up.
yes, that would be the goal.
So would they work during the school day?
Yes.
The tutors were,
Yeah.
would, and they would just pull students who were lagging behind out?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So even if the teacher position had been filled instead of tutors, they wouldn't be a teacher that has like a normal class.
No, they would be pulling kids out too. Our staff has identified students who are behind. So that would be the students we would
Yeah, I just wondered-
address first and foremost.
Yeah, I just wondered if we could get them going.
Yes.
In the next 6 months.
Exactly, that's our goal.
Yes.
Mrs. Fraley has been adamant about this, to try to get some of this addressed, so, and I'm all on board with it, so,
Sadly, the numbers are probably higher for that class than.
yes.
ever been.
Again, it goes back to that,
We interrupted kindergarten.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, it's just been, so we gotta address it.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Pinkstop?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mr. Renier?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes. Athletic council report. I jotted down some stuff here. The first item was just the website app are up and going. I know I've gotten various things on it. I haven't actually done it yet, but in terms of downloading it, so I don't know how well it's working, but I know it exists. To where you can see scores and upcoming schedules and various things like that with the app and the site. The AC Student Athlete Commission was basically a group put together of students with a selection from each sport for them to come together. And right now, initially anyways, they're kind of having review the athletic handbook and everything there that they think from a student perspective that needs changed, updated, etc. They I guess suggested, and it's been acted on in terms of some announcements at the high school level in terms of better communication as to what has happened and what is coming up. So in other words, how did the games go last night or 2 nights ago or whatever, and then what things are coming up later this week. And so Mr. Henton mentioned that they've been doing some more announcements with that at different times during the day now, so that kids can plan if they want to go to a basketball game or a wrestling meet or whatever, they just know better what's coming up. So that was another thing that apparently came out of that. And it was mentioned that the student sections have been pretty good so far at the games. And I agree, they've been kind of noisy. The ones I've been to, when the game, from our standpoint, allows them to be noisy. Our girls varsity got smoked by Taze, so our student section was loud for about the first quarter. And it was kind of, so. The next item on there was the fitness equipment. We had sold 8 pieces of the old fitness equipment and got $2,600 recouped from that via online, including some adventurous fellow from Georgia who apparently came up and got one of these pieces and loaded on a truck or something on his way to Michigan to get a boat. Or you're not on it. That's kind of part of what I heard. It sounded like quite the adventure. Yeah, I don't know what, so.
I would have found it closer to home.
Yeah, I know, that's what I think in Georgia, seriously. Mrs. Marshall is in the process of, or has ordered new equipment to replace that, and the goal is to hopefully get most, if not all that in and ready to go by the time students come back in January. Those items are being paid for out of student wellness funds. It was mentioned that we have had a few items of things, I guess, weight room type things replaced since 2003, that it was always with used equipment, never new necessarily. So there hasn't been any new equipment for the weight room there, the fitness room purchased since 2003, so 18 years ago. So let's see. They also, while they're doing that, they're gonna do some sprucing up of the room with some various things. And hopefully get a new sound system installed with a smart board, so they could put like potentially like a yoga class thing on the smart board and play it, and kids can do stuff, various things like that. So lots of things going on with the fitness room, the weight room down the hall. Next item is softball scoreboard. There was a local gentleman who thinks the softball scoreboard should be spruced up to look the same as the football and baseball in terms of the ACEs thing. And so he was going to look into that potentially, but then at the same time, the Booster Club apparently talked about an attachment too. So between one and the other, there's a good chance that by softball season, the softball scoreboard will have kind of the ACEs thing similar to what the others do. And then the last item, I guess it's not totally last item, but the last numbered item was the PE or physical ed waivers that students who are in sports, if you do 2 sports, you can send the waiver home and get it signed, and you don't have to take a PE class that year. Those count as your PE class. But apparently they've been having issues getting those back in terms of filling them out. And then senior year rolls around and people are short on PE classes, and they got to track down coaches sometimes who aren't even coaches anymore and try to get those figured out. And so there was some discussion as to what really needs to be done to make that process better. It was discussed about possibly including that form electronic on the final forms, that parents, when they would fill out final forms, they could just basically sign off on it there. That seems to be the biggest issue in terms of the forms go home and they don't end up coming back signed by parents. So,
just curious, when my kids got in high school, we signed those forms. Why do they have to do that? Like, why is it not an automatic? Like, if Johnny plays football this fall, why doesn't he automatically get a 0.5?
He does, but mom and dad have to be on board and they know that Johnny played football in lieu of physics class. That's what this is about.
So it's an acknowledgement that instead of PE class, they're letting them sign that.
Because you have to have a credit to graduate.
No, that part I know, but I'm just saying, like, the parents know they play football. Your Johnny played football because you paid his pay to play. Apparently.
But I'm not sure all parents understand that sports can replace, band can replace their PE credit.
Well, right, I get that, but why do they have to sign off on it though? Because some parents may not know you need to have 4 years of all this and 4 years of all that if you want this kind of diploma either, and you don't ask the parent to sign off on that. I'm just curious, like, why do you do that? Huh?
Aren't you signing off on your child's scheduling?
No, I've never signed off on
Okay.
that scheduling. Have you? I don't think so.
I don't know why.
They have their schedule, and no, I never. I've never signed a schedule. That's why I'm curious, like, why are we doing this extra step? Is there some?
Because when a kid is a senior year and he says, I played football in my freshman year and basketball, and no one has any record of that.
No, that's why I'm asking why it's not an automatic. You have like the team roster, like at the end of the year, if they're still on the team, why it's not an automatic that they would get half a credit for it?
I don't know that. I will find that out.
It just seems like that could be entered into the, whatever the name of that fancy system is, and then.
Final forms?
No, into the grading system.
Progress group?
Whatever, yeah,
Dazzle,
that's it.
probably what,
Thank you.
same as.
Do you need, did you say you need 2 sports?
2 seasons.
2 seasons, so if they play football, that doesn't qualify, that do something
Right.
else.
Well, you would get a half a credit.
Right.
Oh, I see.
So every sport you do,
Okay.
basically you get a half a credit.
Okay.
If you do 2, right, am I saying that right, Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I'm just asking.
I will find that out.
And maybe it could be part of final form. You understand your child's playing
Mhm.
a fall sport and you understand they're getting a half a credit if they fulfill the entire season, or I don't know.
So there was that. The last thing, I guess there were 2 other things. The dead period, there was a discussion with the dead period, and that currently is the first 14 days of July. And they mentioned that, I think that you had brought it up at one point, or somebody, that sometimes that falls in midweek, and that's kind of
Oh, yeah.
a pain in terms of trying to schedule stuff. And so there was a discussion that to potentially going back, apparently it used to be the last Saturday in June and then 14 days from there. So it was discussed about, that would be a fine solution, but that it should probably just give people a heads up that that's what it's going to be, but don't do that till 23 because there might be people who are
Right,
already
because people
scheduled.
have their 22 vacations, some of them have them
Set.
scheduled. But
Right,
yeah,
so-
I know as like a worker, it's hard to like take off a midweek to a midweek.
Right.
So you really only have the 1 week, and a lot of times it falls 4th of July. If you travel, it's not a good week to travel.
Right.
If you can avoid it, it's easier to avoid. Yeah.
Right.
Most of the rental properties, especially during the summer, you rent them Saturday to Saturday.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So yes, it seemed general consensus that would be a fine solution, but yes, that it should probably be.
So we would do that on the
scheduled
calendar for
23
2023.
23 summer, yeah, not the 22 summer.
This isn't part of the athletic, so when is the 22, 23 calendar?
It'll probably be brought to the board either in February or March.
Is that normal? Is that the normal?
There's some guidelines that can't be brought, no, wait. There's some guidelines.
I don't know there's guidelines, that's when I've always brought it to the board.
Yeah,
but
there's
We'll bring it
something.
to your calendar then.
It was also, somebody asked with the dead period thing, is that just athletics or is it all school activities? And the initial thing was, well, it's just athletics. So then there was some discussion, should it be all school activities so that somebody can schedule and they not? So, and so then the question was, as administrative team, you said probably would need to talk as to what all might that entail in terms of what other things are there.
So Mr. Hammond brought it up, that it's great for athletes who only do athletics.
Yeah.
But if they're involved in other activities,
We have more than one kid.
yeah, and then it prevents your family from being able to take that period of time. So, I think
There are other,
activities taking place during that time. Yes.
because when Hannah was a freshman, I was like, you can't do that then, because that's the dead period. She said, no, that's only athletic. I'm like, it is not. She's like, oh, yeah.
Well, maybe that's what probably the only thing.
Mhm.
So there were, I don't remember when all the FFA stuff is, but I know they're going to camps and they're going to
That's
officer
their
retreats
camp.
and various things.
I'm pretty sure the camp's happening around that exact.
Yeah, they're,
It
yeah.
does, but I think we pick our session.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
there's
think you
multiple
can pick
ones.
different sessions, but I don't know if you have a flexibility once you're in that, how long it takes to like move it to another. I don't know.
So anyways, that came up as well, which might be explored
Mhm.
further. And then the last thing that was kind of brought off the cuff toward the end is just kind of floating the idea of a field turf option for the football/soccer field, et cetera. I put it that way because I wanted to just say
Yes.
football field, because everyone was like, spending money on football. Well, it's more than just a football field now. There's varsity,
Oh,
soccer,
so
and
much goes on down there.
and everything else.
Well, and there's stuff that
So,
we don't do on that field that we could do because of the state of the turf.
Yeah.
I think they did some this year, but like other years, like junior high doesn't play down there. They play up on the practice field because that field can't
handle that much stuff.
handle that much stuff in a week. But
Well, Scott mentioned that.
how much does that cost? Like, I'm just curious, a ballpark.
850 to 1.5 million.
So,
And then what's the maintenance on that type of stuff? Like, once it's
that's
down, like,
8
is
to
it,
12 years, they said.
It's
that's
good,
all?
but your secondary expense is not as much as it was the first time.
Because you don't do all the base stuff.
Oh.
Just
But
The
then,
the
like,
maintenance is there's a fluffing that goes on of the turf, of the synthetic turf. There's, Mr. Dalton mentioned the fact that like there's all kind of rubber pellets inside. Like where if you're kicking an extra point all in the same place, it starts losing its pellets. So you have to do some maintenance as far as putting pellets back in. If you were watching some games, they'll take the little, it looks like a lawn sweeper and run across it and fluff up the turf.
well, I wonder, like, just like throughout the year, like what kind of,
There's like an anti-fungal.
I have no idea.
Some sort of anti-fungal thing that gets put on periodically, so that you don't get fungus stuff growing. Which sounds fun. I mean, really, it could be a science project. We should get double.
As opposed to the one I was in the dirt. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
So anyway, that was everything. That was the last of it. Those were the things that came up. So
When
obviously,
they're talking about the sports, I can't remember if I mentioned this to you, Mr. Dick. The flag, when we took out the scoreboard, I think the spotlight for the flag, because a lot of us in the stands, like as the season goes on, it gets darker earlier. I didn't notice it at first, and then that old scoreboard was gone, and the flagpole was right behind it, so the flag's not in the light.
Okay.
So I don't know if we need to move the flagpole or if that light got unattached when, my guess is it was attached to the scoreboard.
Yes. We will take care of that.
I must have forgotten.
Easier to move the light than the flag.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, and they're like, you move the whole thing down there, you're gonna move the flag down there, I don't know, I'm just saying.
did I miss anything?
Nope.
All right. Student achievement.
I don't have anything significant to report other than I submitted our Super Savers program to Kim Miller-Smith, who runs the Success email and sends out the newsletter. And she asked me if I had a picture, so I was gonna get with Ms. Fraley. And also, I'm sure that whatever photo we want to submit probably has to go through some kind of approval process, I'm guessing. Maybe the parent would have to.
We have a-
Okay it or something, but
A publicity list.
yes.
Who can.
So, I'll email you but, yeah, I'm hoping that the
Yeah.
January Success newsletter
That'd be
will
nice.
have, our little feature our Super Savers. So, that's all I have.
Legislative liaison report. We haven't anybody done that yet, so.
No, I guess that was Brandon who's.
I'll do that during
The only
organizational.
thing that, in case you guys haven't seen it, there's a bill regarding the Board of Revision, and I don't know if you're all familiar with the Board of Revision and what they do, so without going too far into it. Basically affects, property tax valuations. And so if somebody buys a piece of property and they feel that it's unfairly taxed, they have an appeal process. And school districts get a voice in this at this time, but there is a bill that is there that would actually take that voice away, so we really wouldn't get to say, yes, we agree with this, or no, we don't agree with it. We have very few in our district because of it mostly, in my opinion, mostly happens with commercial properties. The residential properties that come under it, it's usually so insignificant that it's not something that you'd ever want to upset a.
We have a pretty major corporation coming into the district who we need to.
Who's coming?
Google.
What?
Where?
What?
On
Wiley Road. That's Amanda-Clearcreek School District.
Wiley
Right.
Road.
It's Wiley and Wayne
Yes.
Heights.
Oh, I didn't know
What
that.
are they doing
Yeah,
out
like
here?
Google Data Center.
They're putting one on Wiley Road and one right beside the Downs.
Yeah.
Oh, you know where the Department of Water.
Have they
Because
started
they have to-
building yet?
Building,
No, but they've
they've
excavated it.
taken a lot of pad, they got a lot of pads.
But I mean, they broke ground.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I should say.
Yes.
They broke ground.
Drive down behind Rules.
That's right.
I
I
never,
did hear that.
I never go that.
You ought to.
I didn't know they were doing
That's
one out on
what
Wiley
they-
Road. I thought they were doing one out, like a little further north of us, but I was talking to the Department of Water and they were saying that just to keep it cool and supply them with enough water is gonna be
They'll probably have their own power plant.
Yeah.
And if they do.
What's
it,
bringing Google there? Do we know?
Hmm?
What enticed
They
Google
wanna
to
hide.
come here? I mean, we're happy they're coming.
Well, they're all over. I mean, they're in New Albany, they're in down at Scioto Downs, They're just looking for lots of ground and it's very close to 33 bypass.
Oh, yeah.
And big money in it. It's definitely in a big school district. It's right across from Young's. Ruth Ann,
Oh, okay, okay.
and next to the church.
Gotcha. No, I had no idea.
I didn't know, well, actually, I did know that. I didn't know it was.
Did you Google it?
Well,
We wanna make
no.
sure.
No, but I didn't know
Just
that,
check it.
I didn't know that was part of Amanda School District. That's what I didn't know.
Oh,
You got all the Wilson.
it must
Yeah.
be on the very tippy.
It is.
It's on very
Yes,
edge.
they must like that.
I thought it was
Because our
like this.
taxes aren't as high as other districts. They must be happy about that.
Well,
No?
we just want to make sure that it's valued
Yeah.
correctly.
Yes. Yeah, I actually have called the auditor's office to talk to them about it, but I have not been able to reach them. We have a new auditor.
I see.
So I think they're kind of shuffling around. I've actually called a few times, so we'll, I'll keep you updated on that and what we're looking at. I mean, because my question was there, we didn't get anything about any abatements or anything like that, so I'm assuming that I haven't seen anything, even notifications, so.
That 33 corridor put out a
Yes.
press release a few months ago too. That organization.
It's a warehouse, it's a warehouse.
No.
It's a consumer, does it do sales, what is it?
It's a data center.
Data center.
So they won't have a lot of employees then.
No, there won't be a lot of them.
It's just a building.
It uses a lot of energy.
So hopefully we get some pop out of it too.
Mhm.
Can we get better internet?
If we could get better power out of it, that'd be great, wouldn't it, Mr. Dick?
Mhm.
Would save our elevator.
All right, building present report, start with Mrs. Braley.
All right, so I want to share our teacher of the month, Sarah Smith, one of our first grade teachers. She does a wonderful job every day and goes above and beyond and always provides lots of rigor for her students and is always challenging them. So I love going in and popping in and seeing what's going on in there. Our support staff of the month is Amy Hines. She is our school secretary and she is amazing. She is the face of our building and I love how she interacts with students and parents. She always makes sure that people are taken care of, that our students are staying safe, even when maybe that's a little frustrating to parents. Safety is always one of our big things and I appreciate that of her a lot. Currently, we're doing a Stuff the Principal's office, so bring in any food for a canned food drive. I'm hoping eventually I won't be able to get to my desk, so keep that coming. I just wanted to take a minute and highlight our nutrition team. So Kim and Jody and Pauline, Amanda and Nancy. Mr. Brosovich and I had a chance to go up to a beginner's admin meeting yesterday, and he went up today as well. And one thing that a lot of the districts were talking about was food shortage, how they're having trouble like even getting foods to their kids. Like kids are having to pack or bring in snacks. And we are very lucky because our nutrition team makes sure that we have plenty of food. Our kids are fed. I love they've kind of changed up the menu. There are things they haven't been able to get, but they kind of pulled an audible. They're bringing in different things and the kids are really enjoying it. But I think it's a big deal and we don't highlight them often. We don't think about that. So we appreciate what they do and they just always make it happen. Kindergarten, we had our second round of Chicka Boomers on the football field. December 4th, it was sunny and 54 degrees. So that was very exciting. Kindergarten parents, the support is wonderful. The more practice at home, the better. So we always appreciate that. A shout out to PTO. If you happen to be here this past weekend to see the craft show and the Secret Santa and the book fair, it was organized chaos and it was amazing. We always say, the hard work of the 10% on the backs of, the 90% get to enjoy. And we appreciate the patience because the line got a little bit long for Secret Santa. We had high schoolers that came and volunteered to help guide kids through to shop for parents. One thing I love about our PTO is, number one, they were there late Friday, there early Saturday, late Saturday, made sure everything was set up, kept the prices at $1. I love kids were coming out with these big old black bags that looked like they were Black Friday shopping. But they felt good about their purchases. It wasn't a money maker. It was more about making the kids feel good about what they had purchased for their families. So a shout out to our PTO because I know that was a lot of work and we appreciate it. Just a reminder, Christmas break is coming up. December 18th, school resumes on the 3rd.
which seems unbelievable that we're halfway through the year. It seems impossible. We will have our food bags out this week and next week, so if you need to take a couple extra, please feel free to do so. Other than that, we are celebrating the holidays over in the primary, and the kids are getting very excited, so it's just keeping them calm, enjoying it, leaning into the excitement as we wrap up the 9 weeks. Thank you.
The elementary guide soaps is providing us a program called Catch Your Breath for fifth graders about vaping and smoking and the science behind what it does to our bodies. We have a dream box incentive for the holidays going on. In the hallways, we have a package that's wrapped, and the kids who have been wondering what's inside the package, and we get to unveil that on the 17th. And we're gonna have a special activity that goes with what's inside. What the students are doing is they're creating, Dreambox recommends 5 lessons a week for growth, to show growth. And these guys are knocking it out of the park. Right now our totals in 3rd grade, we have the Miss Strawser's class is at 178 lessons. 4th grade, Miss Myers' class is 194 lessons, Miss LaRue's 169. And then everyone else is in between that. But those are our leaders currently right now. The goal for the class is to have 250 lessons done by the 17th. Teachers are in the process of collecting data for the end of the 9 weeks. Several have mentioned their excitement that they're seeing lots of student growth this 9 weeks. Our teacher of the month is Miss Emily Patton. She's our new 4th grade teacher. And teacher of the month is nominated by our parents. And then we look at the nominations and we pick a teacher of the month that way. And we also share all those nominations that parents and those kind words that the parents are telling their teachers, we share those with the teachers. Like that pumps up their morale. They see that there are people paying attention to what they're doing. They're doing a great job.
And your kids aren't getting excited about Christmas holidays?
What's that?
Your kids aren't, okay, I just want to make sure.
Not yet.
I beg to differ. Oh, not his personal kids.
Mrs. Coffey.
All right, at the middle school, our students are gearing up for quarterly assessments next week, so not as exciting as elementary and primary, but they will start those on Monday the 13th and conclude those on Thursday the 16th. The 17th, the final day is curtain and makeups that students need to complete. As Mr. Rothridge said, this is a great resource for our teachers as far as gaining data. So we will spend the next PD completing a data form to see where our students have shown growth, where there might be some weaknesses that we need to work through and some strengths. December 17th is the final day of the second 9 weeks. Mr. Hinton and I had the pleasure to go down and see the choir concert this evening, and the kids were phenomenal. It was a great concert. Next Wednesday, December 15th, our band will be performing, and my understanding is that this is a joint concert between middle school, high school, jazz band, and there's another band, concert band. Yeah, so you want to come out next Wednesday at 7 o'clock in Gym 1. Also next Wednesday, the 8th grade students have the opportunity to go to the Career Center. They're really excited for this because last year, we had to not postpone the trip, but cancel the trip. So this is a great opportunity for our students to go to Fairfield Career Center and see some of the programs that are offered as they move up to high school next year and get closer to having that opportunity. Our National Honor Society at the middle school has adopted a couple families, and those were, I believe, referred through Chelsea's Christmas. So the students went shopping on Monday with the advisors, and that was a great experience for them. So I will be wrapping that up here soon to give some gifts to families in need. November Teacher of the Month was Mrs. Strickler. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. 6th grade was Samantha Buckley and Marshall Fletcher. 7th grade was Journey Earps and Silas Hoffman. 8th grade was Gabriella Earps and Evan Drury. Next week we do, to lighten the mood, we do have a spirit week, so that information has been communicated with students, and there's some prizes along with that to get our staff to participate. And finally, winter athletics is underway, so I believe every sport has had a contest between basketball and wrestling.
Good.
Just, she mentioned the Career Center, this week, December 2nd, the Career Center application window opened, so we're getting after our sophomores about applying. They've changed the way they do the applications. They used to have a first wave, second wave. They now do not have any waves. It's just, you have until March, I think it's March 14th is the deadline. So they're kind of changing the ways. I got to go up last Friday, kind of hear the new application process, how they're doing that. So we're able to make our adjustments on our end with our students applying for Career Center. Our high school staff member of the month is Miss Amber Williams. If anyone knows Miss Williams, she does a fantastic job as one of our paraprofessionals. She was voted as our staff member of the month. One thing that's been exciting this year, and we've been we have a lot of people coming to visit. I don't know if other schools aren't allowing visitors or allowing people in, but we have more job development, more companies reaching out through the 33 corridor and things that are of our readiness seal that we're working with through 33 corridor. This past week, we had some seniors go visit Kumler Collision and speak about opportunities there. We had Builders Exchange in today. We had Universal Tech Institute in, and we have all the military branches are coming in during lunches and meeting with students and things. So we have a lot. It's good. They haven't been here since 2019, essentially. So it's nice to have those people coming back in the building and be able to speak with our students again, and our students be able to go out to these trips. And then I'm excited this Wednesday, December 15th, next week, I get to go to the Workforce Development Center. I don't know if anybody's been by there. Is that on Coon Path?
It's on Coon Path.
Coon Path, we're on Coon Path there. But I get to go listen to a presentation. They have some speakers in and talking about the changes in workforce development and the latest trends and the growth and where jobs are going to be needed. So I'm excited to go there on Wednesday to hear. They have 3 speakers. So those have been a long time since I'd be able to go to something like that. I used to be able to do a lot of those. So we're getting back into the swing of going and listening to on-demand jobs and those types of things in our area of how we can best prepare our students for the workforce. So I'm excited for that on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all for that. I always enjoy hearing what's going on with this things. That's good. We will move on to new business then now. First item of new business is to approve a date and time for organizational meeting for 2022. It must be held within 15 days of the calendar year. We had talked about doing it during our normal meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think wasn't that kind of the general consensus in our last meeting?
We talked about doing it January the 5th, moving our meeting up a little bit and doing it then. That's what we talked about at the special meeting. I think it was that meeting, whatever it was, because of everything.
Yeah, I
We
mean, I know
don't
we
have a lot
talked
of commitment at the end of the month.
about doing the organizational meeting at the same time as our regular meeting. I don't remember about moving the regular meeting up, but.
Well, the talk was, when did we have to have the organizational meeting done, and with the second week, how would we be within that time frame? We weren't sure the days, and Mr. Dick, I think, was gonna look up the days for us. I'm gonna be gone on the 12th.
Can Lana get the financials done by the 5th?
No,
That's what I
no,
thought.
that's the calendar you're in.
Yeah, I have a trip I need to do, and the last 2 weeks are gonna be spent. We could
What
do
about the
like
10th?
4 days the last 2 weeks.
What about the?
Yeah, are you going all that week, Robin?
No, I can be the 10th. I can do a Monday that week.
Would that give you enough time for your?
Yeah, I think that keep
That's the
habits.
normal week.
So we would still do it concurrent with the regular meeting. We're just gonna move the regular meeting to the left a little bit from Wednesday to Monday.
Well, technically, we don't even have a regular meeting schedule
Yeah.
because we haven't met for the organizational meeting to say this is regular. Right.
But you could do the organizational meeting and have your regular meeting on the 10th.
On the
So
10th.
that's
We'll
what.
just agree to do it in like an
Yes.
hour.
Scheduling it together.
Now, at the same time, we have to establish date time for the tax budget hearing, which was usually done before the regular meeting in January. I know that's moving to the next tax, but just because it's kind of,
When does the tax budgeting hearing have to be done?
in January.
So I think, I mean,
Could be one real
I don't,
long meeting.
it's never a half an hour meeting, it's
Yeah.
5 minutes. Usually there's not a whole lot of questions. I think I can have it prepared.
Well, if we don't, we won't have any committee reports or committee meetings in January, is that right?
No, because that's when they establish what we do for the committee meetings.
That's what I was thinking, so can we just start at 6 o'clock that night with the board meeting, or 6:30 instead of 7?
That would make
Well-
sense.
We would want to start at 6 for the organizational meeting, right?
Yes. And you could do your budget meetings and then your.
Yeah, that'd give us like, 35 minutes or 45 minutes for the organizational meeting, 15 minutes for the budget, tax budget meeting, and then the regular meeting would begin at 7. If that works for you.
Yeah.
So 6 budget hearings, 6:30 organizational, and 7 regular meeting for January.
Everything on Monday, January 10th.
Yes.
Starting at 6.
So do not call me, do not ask me questions last week, because not to be working.
Pretty soon. If we want to do a potluck.
All right, so is there a motion for that, for January 10 to do, on Monday, January 10, do our organizational meeting, the tax budget hearing, and then the regular meeting, starting at 6?
I'll move.
Rob moves, is there a second? 2 seconds, any other discussion with that then? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Our next item is to appoint a president pro tem to preside over the organizational meeting on the night of the 10th.
Nominate somebody?
I suppose.
Nominate Kyle.
I'll second.
That's pretty standard. Doesn't make a lot of sense to switch. So, is there a motion to appoint me? Is that what you
I
just-
move that Kyle be
Okay.
president pro tem.
All right, you second, any other discussion with that? Anybody else dying to handle the organizational part before we switch over to you? Because that would just make so much sense. All right,
Just do it some way.
yeah, all right, roll call.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Well, 3, we've kind of taken care of already. Established date and time for the tax budget hearing. We're going to do it on the 10th. Do we just did that up here. Do we need to do that again? No. All right, item 4, approve out-of-state field trip. FFA is requesting to travel to Louisville, Kentucky for the National Farm Machinery Show, Friday, February 18 through Sunday, February 20. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Is there a second? Just a second. Discussion? I know that's a typical annual trip that they didn't get to do last year, right?
No.
So, back to doing that again. There's discussion with that? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Pinkstock,
Yes.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Item 5, approve contract with VIP Rehabilitation Services to provide for students who are visually impaired, which is attached to 7. Is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second? Second. Discussion?
We had talked about earlier in the summer trying to get Licking County to do this. Some things, obviously when things change with the special ed department, some things fell through the cracks. This is the company we've used in the past. This company was providing our services this year anyway, because the contract had not switched over yet. So this is just approving what they've been doing and to continue for the 21-22 school year.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Rainier,
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock, yes. Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm,
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes. Item 6, approve companion life insurance renewal contract with no rate increase effective February 1, 2022. Is there a motion? Let's do it. Second?
I'll second.
Seconds, discussion.
Anything to add, Mrs. Fairchild?
No, it's just a renewal and there's no rate increase, so that's always a good thing.
Yes, insurance and no rate increase. Anything else? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Pinkstock?
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes. Item 7 then is to approve the disposal of the gym equipment, which I mentioned during the athletic report, that was sold on government deals. Hopefully we'll approve it, otherwise we gotta go track down that guy in Georgia. And get it back. Is there a motion? Robin moves, second. All right, Misty seconds, discussion.
So when it says sold online in a public auction, that's like you're saying that for the government.
Gov.deals.
Yeah, so
Gov.deals.
yeah, GovDeals is a online public auction. It does meet the criteria or the guidelines by which we have to sell public assets. And only government entities can sell, but everybody can buy. And that's why it's pretty popular, because typically governments sell pretty good stuff.
So we avoid you bid.
Um,
Unrelated business income tax.
Right. Yeah, and then it also, one of the good things about it too is it's of no cost to us. So all the buyer's premiums and stuff is paid by the buyer. We don't participate in that, so it's actually, there's no cost. Plus, everything is as is where is, so we don't run the risks of any, although Mr. Justice is very kind and helps people usually get stuff to the door, he really doesn't have to do that. They know ahead of time that they have to come get it where it is. So if it needs disassembled, they're responsible to disassemble it and stuff, which I find, kind of avoids any workers' comp or anything else with some things that are large or,
A liability.
yeah, very little liability. Now, if there's something that would take any time to disassemble, say we were disposing of the building and they wanted the windows out of the building and they were gonna come take the windows out, we would have them provide like a certificate of insurance and things like that. We could still do that if we feel that it's something that the removal would be risky enough that we'd want to get that certificate of insurance. We could still do stuff like that as well, so.
Anything else with that? Roll call.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes. Item 8, approve staff leave without pay. Scott Sharp, full day. Heather Rafford, full day. Mrs. Spangler, 2 full days, and Michelle Trigo, 6.5 days. Is there a motion?
Oh, no.
Mr. Booth, is there a second?
I'll second.
Kristen seconds. Discussion.
Mr. Dick, we've been approving these, and I know last time you told us why, because I was like, why are we doing this all of a sudden? 6.5 days? It's a lot.
It is.
I mean, I have no idea. what
We gotta be
you're
very
supposed
careful
to-
discussing,
Yeah, I know. Is this a teacher or is this
it's a sports staff member.
a support staff?
Yes,
member?
that's not a
Okay.
teacher.
Okay, so then when we hired the substitute while they were gone, we wouldn't be paying them to be gone, these are just days without pay?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
That's making,
I understand.
Anything else? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Pinkstock?
Yes.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mrs. Psalm?
yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes. Item 9, approve the following expenditures declaring at the time of the contract, the obligation was lawfully appropriated and was in the treasury of the appropriate fund, free from previous encumbrances.
That's a lot to remember. Or-
GTC 3565, Megalift 9910. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Yeah, Robin moves, second.
I'll second to
All right,
discuss.
2 seconds.
Yeah, I
That's
was
right.
still like-
That's what I mean, that's what I mean, then what, say what exactly?
It's a then and now. So basically, these 2 invoices were, I want to say encumbered prior to having a PO in the system for them. They both are related. I'll let Mr. Dick explain them more. They're both related to the construction projects that we were doing.
When the hole collapsed on the scoreboard,
When the what?
the scoreboard hole collapsed where we were putting the scoreboard
They
in.
dug the hole for the foundation footing. They dug a hole and it fell in.
And this
Oh, I
is
didn't know
where,
that. Okay.
this is me getting slapped. Because I didn't run up here and say, cut a PO, because I didn't know what it was gonna cost. So that's the reason
So
we're doing
this is
it.
all for the hole in the ground, both of
The
these things?
B is A, I'm trying to figure out what A is for.
That's general
Temperature control, that's
A
that.
is for, so the other thing about this, if it's under $3,000, it doesn't have to be brought before you. If it's over $3,000, it does. General temperature control is some repairs that were done. I believe Mr. Lee forgot to put
Yes,
and I can't
I think
tell
it
you
was a
what
pump.
system they were actually working on, but he forgot to put a requisition in for doing that. But it was, typically in those cases, it's more of emergency repair. He's more concerned about getting it up and running than he is getting the wreck in, which is frustrating, but at the same time, it is something that
Is that $3,000 like an ORC thing or is a local policy?
it's an ORC thing.
Oh, okay. I just wasn't sure because it seems kind of low.
It is
To me.
interesting.
I thought it would be like 10,000 or something. I mean, that's
As a
what,
treasurer, if we have an expense out there that somebody didn't get a thing for, $5 seems high to me.
that's fair. No, I mean, trust me, that's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, we very rarely have them, which is why you guys don't see them, because Mr. Dick and I try to work together and kind of cover everything we can to make sure that we're constantly staying in communication. So not often will you see them, hopefully. It's never a good thing. Nobody's smacking Mr. Dick. Not right now, anyway.
Megalith was the company who put the scoreboard in. That was they drilled 2 holes and it became 1 hole quickly, and it filled up with water as fast as, so they had to move it back, redo some things and re-drill. So,
But if we want to put in like
Kind
a,
of repairs.
yes,
if we want to put in a spring development, we get water.
yeah, absolutely. We got a nice spring down there.
There's a lot of this.
Absolutely. Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Psalm?
Yes.
Mrs. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Neer?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstock?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes. Yeah, so we're gonna skip and go down to the discussion items, the energy savings on the temperature control stuff.
Good.
Do you have any? Oh, well.
Yeah.
I didn't go through this report real well. Every month, Dynamics, or now Verigy, will provide us with this report. It's kind of hard to read because there's only 1 month of data on it.
Why did they change their name, first of all?
They
They got
merged.
Yeah.
There were 2 different entities, they became one. Dynamics, Verigy has been there for a while, and I think Verigy bought out Dynamics.
So our contracts.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So page 3 of the report, if you count page 1 is the cover page, has actually the cumulative, which is the savings for the month of October, which is $24,274. And that's actual savings off our electric bill.
Can you say that louder for the people that,
Those listening to
Let
that.
those people
those
know.
listening at home?
Yeah.
$24,000 savings.
And for 1 month.
For 1 month, yes. And that is predominantly, if you look on through, it's predominantly electric. There was a little bit of gas savings, but obviously October was warm, so we really didn't have a whole lot of use of the boilers as much. So the gas wasn't as high, wasn't that much usage.
Say the other fun thing on that page is the projected for the year is 137.
That's what they
That's
guaranteed
137,
us.
That's guaranteed, but if it would actually do 20 to 24,000 like this October was times 12,
Yeah.
that's a lot more than 137.
Is that compared to last year?
That's more like 2.
Is that year to year? Where did we save the 24,000 compared to what?
What they do is that they take the heating units, like, that was my question, because October 12th this year could have been 75 degrees, and October 12th last year could have been 55 degrees. So obviously your demand for your electric is greater 1 year over that. They take all that into account and determine that savings based on what electric costs at the time, what it costs now, usage compared to the past, the heat units per day compared to what it was this year, and then that's how they determine that savings. Now, I will tell you, when you look at the electric bill, there's no smoke and mirrors here. You know what I'm saying, in regards to
They
this.
called, South Central Power called and was like, is something wrong?
So,
Because it was
and,
that
and
low.
our electric bill is obviously, there is a significant difference between October 21 and October 20.
That's $288,000 a year.
Yes.
If it stays that
Yes.
way, which, it'll fluctuate, but here's my question. I mean, so far, and obviously it's only 1 month in, but are people still comfortable, or are there like complaints of it being cold, or?
I think it's very warm in here tonight, Mr.
It does feel
But-
great.
but-
I mean,
but again,
I am not complaining.
I'm trying to please them all here.
Yeah, I am not complaining one bit. I'm just asking.
I will tell you, it is a whole new way of doing business with how they're doing things. I mean, they're very in tune with empty spaces not being cooled and heated. They're very in tune with when we're going to be utilizing spaces, like, and this is things we're going to have to get used to, like Monday, November 30th, when, there was no one here except the district office. As soon as Verigy found out that we were not in session, had they known, that heating would have been turned way back during that day. So that's obviously savings, as opposed to some of the practice in the past has been full go all the time. So it's going to take us some getting used to make sure they're understanding when our days off. Obviously we'll communicate to them that starting December 17th, there's very limited use of this building except for the district office. And the gymnasium, yeah. And that's very true, Robin, in regards to keeping those places warm and not having to keep the 1700 hallway,
I was gonna say, can they heat and cool different wings?
Absolutely.
So there are smart thermostats.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I didn't tonight because I know Mrs. Cochran said it felt really good in here when she came in here, so I didn't want to. But if I got sweaty, I could very easily call Verigy as we sit here and say 1100 is extremely hot, and they can cool it down or warm it up. And I'll tell you, I found this out 2 years ago at Taze Valley. I was in the balcony and I was sitting with John Saxon, who sold the project to us. And I said, is this your company heating this place? And he goes, yeah. And I said, you need to turn it down in here. This is ridiculous how hot it is.
Taze Valley?
Yeah, I don't care where I'm at. I was hot, So I told him, and it was within about a 15, 20-minute period, you could feel cool air moving. So that's one of the things we have in technical services, is that we're able to do that. So like if Mr. Hinton and Mrs. Cochran went down to the concert tonight, it was too hot, we can contact them and they can start making adjustments from their house or home, wherever they're at, without having to have anybody here on site to do this.
Who has their phone?
I don't know. I have one of them. Jordan has them, so.
I was thinking if you had it and if Robin had it, we would have.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but it's been, they've done what, obviously 1 month in, and to Mr. Rainier's point, yeah, if you were to multiply out over a year's time, and you do that,
5
every
years.
year,
Our 5-year forecast.
that's a bottom line changer on a 5-year forecast. Yeah,
It's over
it
$9.
truly is. So we're very happy and excited about it right now.
We did forecast the guaranteed savings,
Mhm.
to offset what we're actually paying for.
Yeah.
So we did do that, but anything above and beyond that obviously is gonna affect our cash.
Yeah.
So that would be wonderful.
All right, discussion. I'm gonna briefly, in terms of a discussion item, there was that OEPI, which Ohio Education Policy Institute meeting that I asked if anybody else wanted to
Oh, yeah.
do it. Shockingly, nobody's doing it. That sounds like something that would be really exciting. So it was all virtual, so I sat at my kitchen table and listened to the one day. And it was interesting enough. Mainly they have a OSBA, in essence, has this consultant through this OEPI. OEPI. Howard Fleeter is his name. And he basically does a lot of work putting together information and reports and stuff that they use for different things, primarily to give the information to legislators and stuff when things are happening in terms of bills and so forth. They mentioned he did an analysis of the Fair School Funding Plan and then, worked and talked to various people through OEPI while that was going on to try to get that through, and just how that And now he's, what, the formula in place for 2 years, but no good guarantee. Anyway, some stuff with formula. Talked about the ed choice voucher analysis and kind of what those ed choice voucher things would do, might do. Clearly from that standpoint, as a public school entity, not overly excited about the ed choice voucher stuff, but he had done some various analyses and things in terms of what kind of impact that might have that people could then share with legislators and stuff from a school district standpoint. So that tax revenue analysis, you mentioned doing some stuff with that. State income tax reduction, the House Bill 110, kind of what that could mean. And there's a list of some other things. Those were the biggest ones. Stuff, analysis of utility grade solar power installations and pilot payments and property taxes, which I thought was kind of interesting. Where they looked at what would make most sense with all these big solar things coming in as to if you were a school district, would it make more sense to do to get pilot payments versus property taxes, which you probably know more about that than I
Yes,
do.
payment in lieu of taxes.
And a school can apparently choose one or the other, and from their analysis, it looked like the pilot payments typically would make more sense. So just stuff like that is mainly what he reported on. And in essence, yes, what they do is, in essence, it's this one guy, Harold Fleeter, who, when they kind of pinpoint an issue that they wanted to do some analysis on, is how it would impact schools and stuff, he goes out and digs in and does that, gets some information they could use to talk with legislators and stuff about policy, whether this bill is a good or bad thing from an OSBA standpoint and so forth. So it was interesting.
Thank you for attending.
Gladly, it was great. It
For
was
the
kind of
team.
interesting. At least it was nice. I could sit there, in my sweatpants at the kitchen table and just not have a video on and, not throw a hat on. So, anyway, any other discussion items? All right, if not, is there a motion to go to executive session? Just to lose. 2 seconds. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Rainier?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mrs. Sommer?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinkstop? Mr. Sherman?
Yes. All right. Thank you. We'll do that. We will, there's really nobody here.